In this video, I'm going to be testing my 1949 Cape Cod style house for all of the toxins and things that could be making me and my family sick. We are going to test for mold. We're going to test for explosive gas leaks. We are going to test for EMFs. We are going to test air quality. We're going to check for both VOC contaminants and particulate matter in the air, so just stuff floating around. We are going to check for radon, and I just thought this would look cool. Don't think I'm actually going to use it. Same with this. Starting off with mold, guys. Mold is a raging trend on social media right now. There's a bunch of gurus trying to sell you stuff talking about mold toxicity. Well, does your house have mold? It's easier to find out than you think. So let's rewind about a week from now. I think we have a mold problem in our house. So I am doing a really basic test to find out and see. I got these funky little petri dishes. It's just off Amazon, and you can see these ones have been sitting out and they're growing something. Now, I don't think that's mold, and these actually haven't been opened, but we're gonna follow the directions and see if we've got mold in this house. I've got the locations labeled. I'm gonna go set these in the spots, and then I'm gonna open them up for 60 minutes. We're gonna time it, and then we're gonna close them back up. Let's do it. The first one I'm gonna put in the return air duct. I wanna see if there's mold blowing through my HVAC system. We're gonna leave one of them up here. Want to make sure the air quality is good in the newly redone bedroom. We'll drop one right here on the bed where I sleep to see if I'm breathing it in at night. Now, one of these I'm just gonna test the air quality with. So we're gonna set it up here, just leave it for the hour. The other two, I'm going to swab test. We're in the basement, by the way, if you couldn't tell. I have got this funky white stuff up here on the ceiling. Whoa, it's falling on me. That white stuff looks like mold to me. And with these, we don't have to wait an hour. We've got our sample. We just need to put it in there, stir it around now. We'll see if it grows mold. The last place I want to test is under the stairs here. I know that's got to be something funky. My neighbor actually told me something absolutely crazy about this house. But before I tell you, I would like to get my test done and see what the results are. It's 6:24 right now. We have 1 hour to close and seal up our samples. Got it. No fingers in it. Since these are incredibly cheap and not airtight, we got to put them in plastic bags to actually create an air seal. We're at the 72-hour mark, so let's read them. The downstairs bedroom, maybe a tiny bit of something in there, but it looks pretty good. The basement air, definitely a little mold going on. Basement ceiling swab, that is mold. Stairs swab, even stronger result for mold. Upstairs, no mold, glad to see it, and my oh my, this is frightening. The return air duct. Oh. What are we breathing? Anyways, that's them. We'll take a look at them again tomorrow. So I tested the house for mold. I tested more rooms than what you saw on camera. This was actually my second test just for the video. And guys, what do you know? Having 4 feet of water in the basement leads to mold growth. Basement ceiling, positive. Multiple kinds of mold, all right? Stair swab, positive. Also, multiple kinds of mold. Downstairs bedroom, yeah, it was a slight positive, not as strong, so I'm not too worried about sleeping in there, but I would like to remediate that at some point, all right? And then basement air, of course, basement air had it in there. Return air duct, I was really worried about this, but after it sat for about a week, there is a little bit of mold, but that other stuff in there, I don't really think that that is mold. So I'm less worried about it. Now, if you have a really strong sense of smell, I do. I can smell things that people around me can't smell. I can walk into a house and I can smell mold. This may sound crazy, but I can pick up that mildew smell almost immediately if it's in a place. Now, I can smell it in my basement. I can't smell it in my bedroom. So my nose is not as good as the test, obviously. But this test was only, I think, 40 or 50 bucks. Maybe it was a little more than that. I'll drop a link to it down below. Moving on to explosive gases. The first thing I'm going to do before I test my basement is go to a local place where I can hear the natural gas leaking and I can smell it. We're gonna measure it there, see what it's like, then we'll compare it to the pipes in my basement. Oh, I can smell it really strong here. Let's see. It's over here where it's leaking. We got a hit. A lot of gas leaking out of here. All right, wasn't a total bust. All right, let's get out of here before someone calls the cops. I'm in my basement where all the gas pipe runs for the natural gas. Only my furnace and hot water heater run on it. And I can't smell anything, so I'm really doubtful we're gonna find anything, but let's do a quick check anyways. It comes in at the wall here, and we could sniff the whole pipe, but let's be real, it's only gonna leak at a fitting probably. Guys, there's no gas leaks. Kind of a letdown, right? So if there was a slow natural gas leak in my piping, or what used to go to the stove, it's not hooked up anymore, the long-term effects like that are not as bad as you might think. It appears to be linked to mental health problems, maybe asthma in kids, and it's not good for you. It can lead to fatigue, brain fog, those sort of things. Now, if it's bad enough to where you can smell it, well, you need to worry about your house blowing up. So in testing for radon, I've had it down here for, I think, about 2 weeks now. And the long-term average is 0.89, and the short-term average, which is like the past 10 minutes, I think, is like 0.91. I set it up here for some time, and then I also set it over there on that sump pump pit. When it comes to radon gas, guys, it comes up from the ground. So if you have a basement or a crawl space, your home is more likely to have that going on, all right? Also, in the Midwest, it's the worst, although it's found everywhere. As far as safe levels go, there's no safe level, all right? It is radioactive gas. But if you get one of these meters and it reads 2 picories per liter, I believe that's the measurement, you need to consider getting a mitigation system. At 0.89, we're okay here. We're not gonna do anything about it. And over 4, you're definitely supposed to. Moving on to EMFs. So let's start out by taking a look at the magnetic field outside an electrical substation by my house. Obviously, to ensure my protection from the magnetic fields here. At 100 feet, we're at 7. All right, we're up to 19 at, I would say, 50 to 70 feet. It's getting super strong. It's very strong. It's about to max out the meter. We get up to here, to the fence, we're reading 30. I guess the meter does go to 100. It could go a lot higher. So I got a question for you. Would you want your house to sit within 200 feet of that electrical substation? I think the honest answer for most people is that they would prefer not, because that's obviously a strong field. For me personally, when I see the extremes like that, it's like, yeah, I would avoid that. That might be a risk. But when it's just little stuff, we don't really think about it. I did not realize I was kicking the hornet's nest in my last video by talking about EMF fields as though they could be a legitimate concern. Guys, the jury is still out on the science, but one thing I do know, we cannot trust corporate America to have our best interests in mind. So I personally like to stay open-minded to the fact that maybe some things are bad for us that we don't know that much about. So let's go ahead and test my house for the 3 different types of fields that this meter here can measure, which are magnetic fields, electric fields, and radio frequency fields. Everything that's electrical has both a magnetic and an electrical field to it. And the radio fields come from like TV towers, your cell phone, and your Wi-Fi router. Now there's no given safe standard for these because they're not recognized as being bad for you. So if you want to look that up, you can go ahead and look that up. I think one of the best ways to just kind of gauge it is if it's high on the meter, it's probably kind of a high level. If it's low on the meter, it's kind of a low level. For example, let's test this outlet right here, okay? The magnetic field right up against it is around 6 mg, all right? I believe that's milligas. It's so hard to remember these obscure measuring systems. The electric field, at about 2 feet, it's not there. This is directional, by the way. 1 feet, it's just barely there. Right up against it, it's about 200. All right. So if this thing is 2 feet from my bed, none of these waves are really getting to me. Now, if these wires were enshrouded in metal, it would cut the field down by like 90%. And I'll show you that in the basement. I'm here just a few inches from the Wi-Fi router, and I'm testing radio frequency. That's the waves that you need to worry about, if you're going to worry about it, of course, from the Wi-Fi router. And it pulses. You see how this line here is constantly moving. So you got to look at the peak up here. And it's maxing it out. It's pretty high. The peak that it's showing is around 20 that it's shooting up to every bit. Now we'll go test this in the bedroom where I sleep. While we are down here, we ought to check some of the other main culprits too. So we've got the electrical panel here. Let's take a look at it. We're gonna have different types of fields around this one. Our magnetic field is only about 0.5 right here. We get a little closer, goes up to about 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's quite a bit higher, but you can see that drops off real fast. Electrical field also drops off pretty quick here. Every single one of these wires here, it's gonna have its own electrical field. You can see, whoo, that's reading high. You see we've got the Romex in the shielding. It took it down by like 90%. So this here, we're at almost 1,000. This here, we're at like 70. But you can see these fields do drop off fairly quickly. At about 2 feet away, we're no longer picking up really any field. As far as magnetic goes, not really picking up much of a field here either. The whole house has about a 0.1, 0.2 reading. Standing in this room right here, I'm about, 15 feet from my Wi-Fi router. It's peaking at about 13. A lot of times if people do want to get rid of EMFs in their house, they'll start by turning the Wi-Fi off at night. As far as the magnetic field goes, I've walked the whole house pretty well, and it's all pretty much below 0.5 mgs. Now, most homes have a smart meter on them, and these each have different types of fields on them, but the magnetic field is fairly strong when you get up right by it. It is about 13 mgs right up on it, but I think the bigger concern most people have with these is the pulsing signal that's communicating how much electricity you've used. So you use your radio frequency to measure that. It pulses about once per minute to the tower, so it's gonna have a steady level that's lower, and then about every minute it will shoot a signal off to the tower, which can be considerably higher. Mine pulsed out to about 12 once per minute. So out of the different type of EMFs here in my bedroom, everything is really low except for the radio frequency. So now I'm gonna unplug the Wi-Fi and we'll read again here and see what the difference is like. Wi-Fi is off. After cutting the Wi-Fi, it looks like it's cut in about half, but I'm filming with this mic and Bluetooth system, so that's probably throwing off the radio frequency. Anyway, something to experiment. Guys, take what you will on the EMFs. I'm not super worried about them myself. Are they actually hurting you? I don't think we're gonna have an official answer on that for a long time. I think it's worth experimenting with. I think it's worth reducing your exposure, seeing if you sleep any better. If there's one place that I'm gonna experiment with them, it's where I sleep, because getting restorative sleep is like one of the most important things to good health. Guys, in all my renovation, I have not seen any tiles or anything that have asbestos in them. So we can check that one off the list, but let's go check for lead. Now, there's lead paint and then there's lead pipes. These are our two big contaminants. The lead paint is not a concern in this house. Lead paint is kind of this bluish gray color, and I think it was outlawed in 1978. So if your house has been painted since 1978, it's at least buried. It's not gonna hurt you. But the water pipes coming into your house can be made of lead. Let's go take a look at mine. Testing for lead on the water pipe is very simple. Here is the pipes going into my house, all right? We've got PEX. So obviously that's not lead. Let's take a look at the pipes coming from outside. That is the concerning part. To see if these are lead, we're just gonna scratch them with a penny and see what color they turn. It took a good scratch there, guys, but you can see copper coming through. That is good news. Guys, it's now time to test our air quality. We're gonna be testing for formaldehyde, VOCs, and then the level of particular in the air. So just like dust, pollen, all of that little stuff that you can't really see, but you're breathing it in. Guys, formaldehyde is a preservative used to preserve things, right? It causes cancer, a lot of bad stuff for you. VOC stands for volatile organic compounds. And the essence of it is that they are bad for you too. VOCs are oftentimes the chemical that your paint is mixed with to where it will dry, all right? So you want a black pigment to stay when this is done, right? Well, you need the wet part to evaporate. So that part that evaporates out and it's mixed in with all the black stuff, oftentimes that's where the bulk of your VOCs are found. So the biggest risk with VOCs is oftentimes for the person actually doing the work, and when the initial off-gassing period finishes, there's not going to be too many left over. But let's go around this house and check out what we can find. I'm in the kitchen now, which should be kind of isolated from where I've been working, and almost no formaldehyde, just 0.05 VOC, 770 particles per liter. But let's go check out the bedroom, which has carpet in it, see if it's any worse. Going into the bedroom, it went up almost 250 particles per liter. Formaldehyde, about the same. VOCs was a little bit higher in here. Let's check out upstairs. I'm reading the upstairs here, and this room smells dusty to me. All right, so maybe it's a problem with cleaning, but we do have hardwood in here. We do have some rugs, and it's up to about 1,100 particles per liter. We do have some new carpet, though, in the closet, so let's read that, see if we get any strong formaldehyde or VOC readings on it. So it does think there's a lot of particles in it. The level of air quality went down to moderate, and the particles per liter went up to like 2,500, so it like 2.5x. So there's no doubt that carpet is harboring a lot of junk in it. That being said, it did not read really any different on the formaldehyde and VOCs as anything else. When it comes to knowing if you have a VOC problem in your house, I really think that your nose is probably more effective than this meter. This thing was like 180 bucks. It wasn't that cheap. If you can smell any type of chemical, paint, furniture smell, it's probably VOCs off-gassing. If you can smell the building materials in your house and they don't smell like natural wood, probably things off-gassing. Now the particle part of this I do think is quite interesting, and yeah, the carpet's got a lot of junk in it, especially when it starts getting stirred up. I'll drop the links to all these products I use to test my house down below so that you can go buy them if you want to. If you want to see more videos like this and me building other stuff, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.